yeah. I'll celebrate with you. Huh? Okay. We got our friend's wedding. Like, yeah. You have her iPad. We'll just have it right there in a little screen. During. You have to be there for the full bet. I mean, if you want to push it to later June, early July. So Jackie, you just gotta tell us that it's we will have to wait a whole nother year to go on the field to do training again just to go to your wedding. Just tell us, okay? You just have to reimburse us out of your. Hmm. Hmm. So it's like even when we leave the area, the Romanians never leave us. We'll just watch we'll watch the wedding at her family's house, so it's still in the spirit of Romania. She probably does. She I was saying like most likely her Lydia's family knows the Romanian church that Jackie goes to.
One of the earliest accounts about Jesus of Nazareth, his life, death, and resurrection, was written by a man named Luke.
We know it as the Gospel of Luke, but Luke continued the story in a second volume,
Called the Book of Acts, and it's all about what Jesus continued to do after his resurrection.
Acts begins with the disciples who are hanging out with Jesus, who's just come back to life, which is mind-blowing to imagine.
And then for weeks, the risen Jesus kept teaching them about his upside-down kingdom, the new creation that he launched through his death and resurrection.
This is exciting stuff, and the disciples are ready to go tell the world.
But then Jesus tells them to wait and to stay in Jerusalem until they receive a new kind of power so they can be faithful witnesses to Jesus and his kingdom. Then he says that their mission is going to begin in Jerusalem, then move out to Judea and Samaria, and then from there out into the nations. It's like a roadmap for the whole book of Acts. Then the disciples saw Jesus enthroned as king of all creation.
So the disciples wait, wondering when this power is going to come. And then comes the time of Pentecost.
So this is an ancient Israelite festival. It's during the early summer, and thousands of Jewish pilgrims would come back to Jerusalem from all over the world, all these different languages and cultures colliding in the city.
And the disciples are together in a house, which is suddenly filled with rushing wind, along with fire. Fire splinters off into tongues of fire hovering over people's heads. What's this all about?
Yeah, so Luke is tapping into a repeated Old Testament theme. When God's presence showed up similarly at Mount Sinai, he made a covenant with Israel and gave them the 10 Commandments. Then later, when God's glory came in a pillar of fire, it filled the tabernacle when he came to live among them.
But that was just one pillar of fire, not many.
Exactly. Luke's making an important point here. This is God's personal temple presence, God's spirit that was foretold by Israel's prophets. And now it's come to take up residence in the new temple of Jesus' body, that is, his people. They've become little mobile temples where God now dwells.
And they start to tell stories about Jesus, but they're speaking in languages that they didn't know before, yet all the visitors can understand them. What's this all about?
Well, Peter gets up to explain that this is the fulfillment of Israel's hopes based on the scriptures. God's plan was always to use the unified family of Abraham to bring peace and justice to the world. But the tribes of Israel had been scattered because of the exile. Now here at Pentecost, representatives from all of the tribes come back together and they're introduced to their Messiah, the crucified and risen Jesus, so they can now become the restored people of Israel.
And thousands of them start following the way of Jesus.
Which brings us to Luke's tale of two temples. So you've got the temple that Herod built in Jerusalem, where Jesus' disciples worship like the rest of the Israelites. But now there's also Jesus' temple, which consists of people. This temple's meeting together in homes all over Jerusalem, and they were approaching life in a radical new way.
Right, think about it. Many of these pilgrims aren't even from Jerusalem, so they formed these new families, and they're all depending on each other.
Yeah, people would sell their stuff, provide for the poor among them. They ate their meals together. They said their daily prayers together.
They were learning from the apostles what it meant to live as if Jesus is the true king of the world, and it must have been exhilarating.
But it wasn't all fun and games. Being God's temple is serious business, just like in the Old Testament. So you might know about that strange story in the book of Leviticus about two priests who disrespect God in the temple and then suddenly die. Well, Luke includes here a similar story of two disciples who dishonor God's spirit in this new temple, and they suffer a similar fate.
So there's corruption in the community. But the bigger problem is coming from the outside.
Yeah, from the other temple. Its leaders are threatened by this new messianic movement, and so they arrest the apostles, they try to stop them. And this brings us to the final story in the Jerusalem section of Acts. We're introduced to a new disciple, Stephen.
Oh yeah, Stephen. He's on fire. He steps up as a leader among the disciples to serve the poor, and he would go to the temple courts to teach people about the way of Jesus.
So the temple leaders arrest Stephen, and they find false witnesses to accuse him of dishonoring Moses and of being a terrorist who's threatening the temple.
In response, Stephen gives this powerful speech about how predictable this whole situation was.
Yeah, he retells the whole Old Testament story, highlighting characters like Joseph, Moses, and the prophets, people who are consistently rejected and persecuted by their own people. Israel's been resisting God's representatives for centuries, and so their rejection of Jesus and now of his followers is a rejection of God himself.
They get angry, and they start to execute him by picking up rocks and smashing him to death.
And as he's dying, he commits himself to the way of Jesus, to suffer because of the sins of others. He even cries out, "Lord, don't hold the sin against them."
This is basically what Jesus said at his death.
Exactly. Stephen becomes the first martyr of the Jesus movement, with many more to come. But this persecution contains seeds of hope, which is why Luke introduces us to a new character here, a religious leader named Saul. He stands over Stephen's dead body and even approves of the whole thing.
Wait, Saul, you mean the man who becomes the Apostle Paul?
Yes, Luke is showing how even this tragic murder can't stop Jesus' kingdom. And so many persecuted disciples scatter out of Jerusalem, and just as Jesus said, they head into Judea and Samaria. Now, the story of what happens there, that's what the next section of Acts is all about.
All right, so takeaway, my friend. Well, what's cool is did Jesus promise before he ascended up to heaven? A helper, right? Or the Paracletos. Good job. Yeah, you did. And so you got the Paracletos. And when the Paracletos came, what did it look like all over all the people? Yeah, and what does God's Spirit look like? Fire, right. Fire on top of them all. Now, that fire on top of them all is not the mobile temple. Good job, yeah. Because it's showing that this is the same presence of Yahweh that was in the tabernacle temple. Good job. And so now you see this explosion of Jesus' community. It becomes the tale of two temples. Or yeah, you got Herod temple, and then you got the Jesus movement temple. And so then this all goes to where like people are serving, loving. You also got strange moment with Ananias and Sapphira. You remember that story? It's where they lied about giving money to the movement. They desecrated the temple, pretty much. And so the Spirit left them. And so so right now, for at least in Jerusalem, you have they're done focusing on the Jerusalem at the very end after. So who first became a witness? The very first witness. Yep, Stephen. So Stephen. Yep, and then but who? So it's showing like his. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there was Saul who was looming over. He actually approved of Stephen's death. Well, yeah, but remember who Saul eventually becomes? Paul. It's after this moment that he's on the road, and he actually tries. He's persecuting the church, and that's when Jesus calls him out. All right, we can start, friend. All right, headphones. Trying to make it full screen. Okay. Oh. Say it now.
Beans and carrots.
Yep, you're good.
Join me.
Okay. Oh wait. Were they supposed to hit teleport to a friend? Char, were they supposed to hit teleport to a friend?
I think I'm joining you. If not, I can go back to my menu and join you.
Okay.
Joined.
Sweet. Send me the goodies.
Okay, let me see what weapon.
I'll take those 3. What is the item you need? Let me see if I have the item you need to do the reset.
Let me see what weapons. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the weapons I have.
Look, Chara, I've already sent you a trade request.
No, you gotta click send.
Oh, I gotta offer at least one item.
The soft, like, I don't know anything. Like a piece of log or something. I don't care since I can just steal treasure chests and I can get items.
Okay. I'll send you a fruit pie.
Okay.
Oh, the trade quality's too low. All right.
Hold on 1 sec. Alright, let me beat up these movies.
I'll keep. All right. I'm sending you some high value stuff because. Nope. Here you go.
Accepted it. Gotta get the items, sir.
Sweet.
You're at Marines.
Oh. That's beautiful.
Let me invite you. Invite me to a party.
Okay. Let me. Okay. Party, 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 party. Here we are. Choose a player. Great party.
Stream heat.
That's fine.
Good. Bro, I keep getting sea charger and it's so annoying.
Huh.
Because I don't even ever use them.
Hmm.
Every time I'm always like, bruh. Wait, sorry. Tell me if you see this. You'll slide your way.
You're coming in. What are you saying?
Is I threw my shield. I'm actually gonna come pretty far. I'm gonna come kind of close to you, and I'm gonna see if you can actually outfur the range on my shield throw, because it's actually.
Man, these weapons are just. Thank you, Char, for the trade. Huh? Yep. That's why I threw you the keys. Oh, no, I didn't throw you the keys.
Spirit walk, bruh.
You're not hardcore unless you live hardcore.